I'm April Williams.
The state of the state. Governor Scott Walker is set to give his annual address this week under very different circumstances this year than he faced last year. It's tonight's political lowdown.
We balanced a $3.6 billion budget deficit.
Last year, the governor's State of the State address was repeatedly interrupted by protesters. It was the charged atmosphere that would soon spawn a recall movement, with the state's progressive forces uniting behind the Democratic recall effort. They were outraged over the elimination of most collective bargaining powers for most public workers. Walker spent much of the year defending his policies in a recall campaign.
We'll renew our commitment to...
He won that election. The speech Tuesday will serve as something of a pep rally for those policies.
Now is the time to move Wisconsin forward.
In the address, Scott Walker will likely highlight some of the accomplishments of his time in office, primarily balancing the budget. When he came to office, his #1 issue was clear.
Jobs, jobs, and more jobs.
And that remains a huge challenge for a state recently ranked 42nd in private sector job creation. He's also spent much of his time in office talking about deficits and cuts. Now, in his third year, he's boasting a budget surplus of more than $340 million. The address to a joint session of the legislature also sets the stage for the coming debate over the state budget. The governor will lay out his priorities, something he's been traveling around the state doing in town hall meetings to gather the concerns of the state's workforce. The governor has laid out his broad strokes agenda in 5 points: job creation, workforce development, education reform, government waste elimination, and transportation investment. He has a friendly legislature. Republicans hold a 60 to 39 seat majority in the Assembly, while in the Senate, Republicans will have an 18 to 15 advantage. And the legislature could do battle over whether to cut income taxes or restore education funding.
Our interest is making sure that the programs that the people of Wisconsin value are funded. We saw the largest cut to K-12 education in Wisconsin history, and until those funds are fully restored, we shouldn't be talking about divvying up the leftover change.
What you're going to see is a budget that's fair when it comes to education and the funding levels. So, you know, I wouldn't rule out that there's going to be more money placed in education.
The governor's speech will dominate state politics this week, and the state Democratic Party plans to make a pre-buttal to Walker's speech on Monday.
Well, sorry, Star Wars fans. The White House has spoken. It will not build the Death Star you may have heard about. Yes.